So, hello everyone out there in internet land, especially to Kevin Logan's fans, but also to Dylan Burns fans, and of course, so fans of the Hippie Dippy podcast. And I am talking about today my reaction to what happened towards the end of the Hippie Dippy podcast 35, I believe it was. Because there was a very interesting stance, and I believe Kevin Logan didn't really do the British side justice. At the beginning, where Kevin was introduced, Dylan expressly said that he hoped that Kevin would give a British view of things that they were going to be discussing. And I feel that in this part, especially discussing about the should the moratorium on evictions be extended or just end, I felt that Kevin did not do... Well, he didn't keep up the British end of it, shall we say. And immediately to me, this was highlighted by the very fact Kevin said F landlords. And take it from me, who's someone who's also in the UK and on the left, I agree with Kevin's position. Now, I understand that you had a lot of the other panelists who responded very strongly, Hunter Avalon in particular, but I think that is because Kevin did not properly explain the situation here in the UK that is the major problem. And regardless of who you ask, even in the Conservative Party here in the UK, they will agree that the UK is currently in a housing crisis. And I would go a step further and say we are edging into a housing disaster. That is how bad I think things have gotten. And this is predominantly because, again, many reasons. First of all, you have home developers who are refusing to build basic social housing and affordable housing because they do not want to build that housing. Even when they have signed contracts saying that they will build X amount of social housing or affordable housing, they use bizarre loopholes to get out of it and not build those houses. Or when they do, they buy them up and basically rent them out. Now, that's just one of the many problems. But the other thing that Kevin should have mentioned is that in the UK, there are not as many protections for renters as there are, or at least there seem to be, in the US. We've just had a very recent case of a Tory council pretty much praise bad landlords and reward them for their bad actions. And these are just numerous cases throughout the UK where landlords have gone above and beyond and made life complete living hell for many of their renters. And unfortunately, we are getting to a stage where so many people are having to rent, they have given up on the aspiration of even owning a home. And Kevin got it exactly right, and I wish he had gone further into that, of where he had said, look, for me, it was cheaper to buy a house and pay a mortgage than it was to rent. Rent prices in this country have skyrocketed because there is no rent control. Not only that, but the worst of the worst landlords, and trust me, there are a lot of really bad landlords out here in the UK who literally almost operate their properties in very, shall we say, almost slum level conditions because they can get away with it. And I feel that if Kevin had explained more of that and what had been going on in the UK, especially regarding our housing crisis, I think especially the rest of the panel might have then have actually understood where Kevin was coming from. Because on the panel, one of the guys said, oh yes, landlords are a potential solution to some problems. They might be in the US. But in the UK, landlords are part of the problem. They are number one reason almost for our current housing disaster, because these big landlords, and again, Kevin should have highlighted the fact that these aren't just people buying a second home and renting it out for some extra money. No, these are big landlords. These big landlords own hundreds of thousands of properties. They are the problem. And they are buying up cheap homes that could be used by people just getting on the property ladder for the first time, having a home, which is something that I think we should all have an aspiration to and be able to provide that. That isn't happening. So I do feel that if Kevin had explained that better, I think that would have been more receptive by the panel. I think the panel would have understood maybe that's where Kevin was coming from, because that's almost the situation where I'm coming from as well. There are huge problems in the UK and landlords are part of the problem. So as Dylan said at the beginning, Kevin did not give, shall we say, the British end of things. So consider this my sort of video application, as it will, to Dylan and the rest of the people at Hippie Dippy. If you ever need someone who's a lefty and certainly a British view, who's going to give you the British view on things, give me a call, give me a tweet. You know, I'm more than happy to come on and, shall we say, represent the crown in these types of things. So thanks very much, and we'll hopefully see you all soon.